Alright, today I'm going to explain to you the benefits of staying active and regularly exercising that can have on one's life. I'm not talking about trying to make the Olympic track team or becoming Mr. Universe. All I'm talking about is doing some kind of activity or exercise about 4 times a week to try and stay healthy. I think it's safe to assume everyone realizes that exercising is good for you, but exactly how good is it? Today I will cover why exercising is good for you and how much it takes to make a difference. I will also talk about the internal and external benefits that exercising can cause on the human body, as well as how many people die from conditions related to lack of physical activity. First, let's talk about the external benefit that exercising has on the body. And we all know when people exercise, they build muscle and lose fat. But what I'm talking about is a small amount of activity that people can do without interrupting their daily schedule, such as walking. According to pedometer researcher Catherine Locke, by walking approximately 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day, a person can lose an inch off their waist within 6 months. Now I know 8,000 to 10,000 steps in one day sounds like a lot, but according to Dr. Locke, about an average employed male takes about 7,500 steps per day, just going down his normal business. And a normal employed female does 5,500 steps per day. So performing her daily activities, she's almost at the goal. By adding 2,000 to 3,000 steps 4 to 7 days out of the week, it could make huge benefits throughout your life in the long run. Now each person has certain thresholds. So if you already do 10,000 steps per day, you have to bump it up to like 13,000, or if you do 2,000, you have to do 3,000 more than that. But generally, between 8 and 10,000 is where you want to be. I made this slide, so it's kind of a visual of the steps per day. So men on the left, women on the right. So you can see you're not very far away when compared to how much you already do. Alright, next we're going to talk about the internal benefits of regular exercise, which are the most important in the long run. Vanity is a very important part of people's lives, ages 15 to 30. Everyone is always worried about their weight or constantly doing everything they can to be attractive. But after the age of 30, most people don't really care about having a six-pack or anything like that. They have much bigger priorities to worry about, such as maintaining long-term relationships, taking care of children, doing well in their career, or for most cases, all three. So exercise becomes completely different. It's more about staying healthy for your spouse, yourself, your kids, or even your grandkids. So with just a few simple exercises between even TV shows during commercials, it can increase blood flow in the brain and burn calories that will make a huge difference if done regularly. If one becomes serious, they might make the greatest investment of their life in joining a gym. Studies have proven that staying active is the single most powerful way to stay healthy throughout your life and enjoy your family and all the things you've worked so hard for. According to WebMD, there are many benefits of regular exercise, such as stress relief for greater relaxation, or even to release hormones and endorphins that strengthen your immune system and fight depression. But the 3 most important reasons are to exercise as one gets older are to lower cholesterol levels, lower triglyceride levels, and to maintain a healthy blood pressure. A 2007 Danish study of 835 men found that regular physical activity is consistently associated with lowering levels of cholesterol. Researchers found that cholesterol levels decreased an average of 4.6%, which is enough to take a significant notch out of heart disease risk. Triglycerides are a form of fat found in the blood. Rising triglyceride levels are associated with increased risk of heart disease. The same Danish study found that lower levels of triglycerides were also found in the same members that had lower cholesterol levels. So this is a brief definition of cholesterol and triglyceride. And what happens is when you have an abundance of both, they latch onto each other and they cause plaque over on that left picture over there. And then when the plaque goes in your arteries, it's kind of like putting your thumb over a hose. So it increases the pressure and everything shoots out way faster. And blood pressure is just a signal that your arteries are getting more and more clogged. It's important for people to understand the severity of eating poorly and doing nothing. If one desires to live longer, they must be willing to make an effort. 2.2 million people died last year in the U.S. alone, and 37%, or around 800,000 people, died from either heart disease, stroke, or diabetes, which are all conditions related to poor diet and lack of exercise. Another 26 passed away from cancer and 10% from respiratory failure. Regular exercise has also been found to decrease and prevent some cancers and respiratory diseases. So it's hard to tell how many more Americans were affected by lack of exercise. Right here is just the numbers in relation to the 2.2 million. And then you can see I put in green the ones that are related to not doing anything and just being lazy pretty much. And eating badly too. But cancer is the second one. And there's tons of different kinds of cancers, and exercise doesn't prevent all of them, but it does prevent at least 5% of them. Go to the next one. Then I plug the information in here on this pie chart, so it kind of gives you a better idea of how much people were affected by it. So, 37% of deaths were from, out of the 2.2 million are related to heart disease, diabetes, or stroke. So today I've explained how exercise improves internal, external features of the human body, as well as some stats about how people are affected by the lack of exercise. So I think it's safe to say anyone is capable, they just have to do it.
So Emily, what did you think?
I think he did a good job of presenting his speeches, and he had really good information, and he did a good job of relating his visuals to the presentation. And I like the way he explained the arteries about the writing, how to give us like an easier idea of how to picture these things. His information was really good, and I didn't really hear any of the sites. Maybe I missed that, but that was it.
Yeah, well, that would be the first thing I would talk about. Is I did hear a lot of the sites. I thought he did a pretty good job integrating information into the speech in the early part of the speech. In the second part of the speech, he's got the visuals, and so some of it is just data on those visuals, and he's not thinking about citing that material. Robbi, you need an attention device. You basically just start off with your topic, and you've got kind of an example that you use a transition. That ought to be your attention device. Your goal is very clearly stated. You've got a good setup of what the content's going to be. Later on in the speech, I did like some of the transition language that you had, although I do think we could use some numerical signposting so that we also know that we're in those points. Like I said, I thought you were citing information very clearly in the first part of the speech. The visuals, the problem with a couple of slides is the black background makes it hard to see some of the stuff that you're talking about and distinguish it. Like the bars on that first slide, two of them are black against black practically, and they're not all that distinct. So you got to think about the way we're supposed to be making those comparisons. It would be easier to mix it up a little bit. It probably looked good on the computer, but it doesn't come across quite as well on the projector there. And your delivery, it just seems a little dry. I think that you do okay talking to the audience, but maybe more rehearsal and more polish would fix that. You're doing okay relating to the audience, but it does come off just kind of a little more involving. I think it would help. All right, thank you.